Imagine this. One day you wake up and every single man on the planet just quietly deletes his dating apps, stops sliding into DMs, stops paying for dinners he'll never get thanked for, stops sending good morning beautiful texts that go ignored, and just walks away without a word. No protest, no angry manifestos, no dramatic breakup posts, just silence. Millions of men suddenly choose peace over chaos, solitude over drama, and their own wallet over someone else's Cash App QR code. And the craziest part? The world didn't end. In fact, for the first time in decades, men started smiling again. If you've ever wondered how we got here, why the dating market feels like a war zone, and why millions of men are now saying, I'd rather be alone than ever play this game again, stay until the very end, because I'm going to show you the exact moment women lost the one thing they can never get back: the willing participation of good men. If you're new here, or you've been riding with me for a while, do me a solid right now. Smash that like button. Share this video with every man you know who's tired of the nonsense. Hit subscribe and click the bell and select all so you never miss a single upload. We drop truth every week, and you don't want to be the last one to find out. Also, if you're serious about protecting everything you've worked for and actually growing real wealth in this clown world economy, go check out Angry's Crypto Academy. Link is in the description. I teach you step by step how to buy, sell, trade, and most importantly, keep your assets safe from everyone who thinks your money is their money. Click that link and get in there today. And if these videos are hitting for you, if I'm saying the stuff you've been thinking but couldn't quite put into words, consider buying me a Red Bull. There's a link in the description. Every can keeps the caffeine flowing and the truth coming. Much love if you do that. Let's get into it. Most men now believe, and I mean truly believe in their bones, that social media has completely destroyed dating as we once knew it. And they're not wrong. What used to be two people meeting, vibing, building something real has now turned into an endless swipe right buffet where attention is currency and commitment is a joke. Women went from having a handful of realistic options to having thousands of men in their phone at any given moment, liking their stories, commenting fire emojis, sliding in with "Hey stranger" at 2 a.m., like clockwork. And with that flood of endless validation came something dangerous: the complete removal of accountability. Think about it. When a woman knows that the second a relationship gets hard, the second a man asks her to act right, the second she has to put in actual effort, there are 500 other guys waiting to tell her she's a queen for doing the bare minimum. Why would she ever grow? Why would she ever compromise? Why would she ever choose peace over drama when drama pays in likes, follows, and free dinners? She wouldn't, and she doesn't. We watched it happen in real time. Women became addicted to the attention high that comes from knowing they can ruin a man's week with one ignored text while simultaneously posting thirst traps that get 10,000 likes in an hour. They started treating real relationships like side quests while the main mission was farming attention online. And men started noticing the pattern. They saw that the same women screaming, "I'm the table," were actually bringing nothing but chaos, trauma, and an Instagram filter to the cookout. And let's be crystal clear here: this didn't happen overnight. This was decades in the making. Women kept pushing and pushing and pushing. They told men they didn't need them. They celebrated independence while secretly hoping someone would still pay the bills. They called natural male behavior toxic while dressing like they were auditioning for an OnlyFans casting call, and then cried harassment when a man glanced in their direction at the gym. They weaponized the court system, divorce settlements, child support, false allegations, you name it, turning family court into a wealth transfer machine that would make the Federal Reserve blush. They invented terms like manspreading to shame men for existing comfortably on public transport. They pulled out phones to record men minding their own business just so they could post "creepy guy stared at me" and get a million views. They turned paternity fraud into a casual Tuesday, laughed about it in group chats, and then played victim when the truth came out years later. They created secret Facebook groups and apps where they could trade notes on which men to avoid, which men paid for dinner and got ghosted, which men dared to have boundaries, and they shared screenshots like it was Pokemon cards. And through all of it, they kept screaming, "Men ain't it, men are trash," while simultaneously demanding that those same trash men risk rejection, pay for everything, fix everything, and never ever complain. They told men to man up, but never to woman up. They wanted all the rewards of traditional masculinity with none of the responsibilities of traditional femininity. And when men said, "Okay, cool, we're out," they called that oppression too. So men listened. For once in their lives, men actually listened. They heard, "We don't need you," and said, "Bet." They heard, "Your masculinity is toxic," and said, "I will keep it to ourselves then." They heard, "Stop approaching us," and said, "Done." And then they walked. And here's the part nobody wants to say out loud, but everybody knows is true. Being alone is not the same as being lonely. A man can sit in a quiet apartment, steak on the grill, money in his account, peace in his mind, and feel more alive than he ever did arguing with a woman who called him broke while spending his money. Men discovered something women never thought they would. Peace is priceless. Men started realizing that the chaos wasn't worth it. The drama wasn't worth it. The constant tests, the games, the "where are we" conversations that went nowhere, the being punished for having boundaries, none of it was worth it. And once a man experiences true peace, once he wakes up without dread, without walking on eggshells, without wondering which version of her he's going to get today, he's never going back. Never. You see, men are minimalists by nature. We don't need much to be happy: a decent income, a gym membership, a few good friends, some hobbies, and peace and quiet. That's luxury to us. Women need constant stimulation, constant validation, constant motion. Men, give us control over our time, our money, and our peace of mind, and we're golden. So when men started cutting out the one thing causing 99% of their stress, guess what happened? They leveled up fast. While women were busy posting TikToks, crying, "Where have all the good men gone?" Men were in the gym getting stronger, building businesses, stacking crypto, traveling, and sleeping like babies at night. Men stopped simping, stopped chasing, stopped explaining themselves to people who never listened in the first place. And the silence became deafening. Now, every day we see new videos of women panicking. "Men don't approach anymore. I can't get a text back. He paid for dinner and didn't even try to sleep with me. What's wrong with him?" Lady, nothing's wrong with him. He just finally read the room. He saw that the game was rigged from the jump. He realized that no matter how good he was, how much he provided, how loyal he stayed, there was always a new accusation, a new demand, a new reason he wasn't enough. So he chose himself. And millions of men are doing the exact same thing right now. Women screwed up. They mistook men's patience for weakness. They thought he'll always be there right up until the moment he wasn't. They thought the attention would never run out. They thought they could treat men like disposable, and men would just keep showing up with flowers anyway. But men have pattern recognition too. And once they see the pattern, once they see female nature in 4K, there's no one seeing it. So now we have a generation of men who would rather die alone than live on their knees. Men who keep their money, their time, their energy, and their peace. Men who understand that a woman's love is conditional, but a dog's love is forever. And right now, the dog is winning. Men who finally get that all the "you're a king" talk was just manipulation to get in their wallet, and the second the wallet closed, the queen disappeared. And the best part, men aren't even angry anymore. That's the thing that scares people the most. We're not raging, we're not begging, we're not making PowerPoints trying to convince anyone to act right. We're just gone, quietly living better lives than we ever did when we were in a relationship. We're thriving in ways women can't even comprehend because their entire identity is tied to being desired, while men's identity is tied to being capable. And guess which one survives when the attention economy collapses? Women are starting to feel it now. Rent is due. Groceries are expensive. No one's sending $200 because they posted sad face on their story. No one's taking them on vacation just because the free rides are over. Hey guys, in a world pushing you to own nothing and be happy, crypto is your key to survival. Join Angry's Crypto Academy to master buying, selling, and trading crypto. Make huge profits and safeguard your wealth. Plus, discover the one crypto virtually no one is talking about, poised to create new millionaires in the upcoming bull run. The link is in the description of the video below. Go check it out now. And for the first time in their lives, many of them are having to face the consequences of their own choices without a man to bail them out. And it's beautiful to watch from a distance because here's the secret nobody wants to admit: men were always the prize. We just let ourselves believe otherwise for a minute. We let society, media, and wounded women convince us that we had to earn love through provision and protection, while they earned it by simply existing. But the second men said, nah, we're good. The entire script flipped. Now, when a woman says, I'm the table, men just laugh and eat on the floor in peace. When she says a high value man would, men respond, cool, go get him then. When she posts men are trash on Tuesday and where are all the real men? On Thursday, men just keep scrolling. We see it. We know. And we're not coming back. And the funniest part in all of this is that women actually believed men were bluffing. They thought the I'm done talk was just another negotiation tactic, another way for men to get better treatment, better behavior, a little more respect. They thought we were going to cry, beg, bargain, make promises, chase harder, pay more, apologize for things we didn't even do, just like we always had in the past. They had watched their mothers do it, their grandmothers do it, their friends do it, train men like circus animals with affection and intimacy, and every single time the man eventually folded and came back with his wallet open and his pride on the floor. So they assumed this time would be no different. They posted their little memes about men always come back and he'll miss me when I'm the one that got away, and kept living their lives like the apps would never run dry and the attention would never stop. They were wrong, dead wrong, because this time the men who walked away weren't the weak ones, weren't the thirsty ones, weren't the ones who would define their entire existence by whether or not a woman answered their text. This time, it was the strong ones, the quiet ones, the ones who had already built something for themselves, the ones who had options but realized every option came with the same chaos tax, the ones who finally did the math and figured out that paying for peace was cheaper than paying for drama child support for the rest of their lives. And once those men left, the market crashed harder than crypto in 2022. And you can go on TikTok right now today and watch grown women in full meltdown mode because some guy they ghosted 6 months ago still hasn't double texted. You can watch them make video after video asking, why won't men approach me at the gym anymore? While wearing leggings that leave absolutely nothing to the imagination, and then acting shocked when the only men who do approach are the exact ones they swear they don't want. You can watch them cry about being single at 28 like it's a prison sentence instead of the direct consequence of treating every decent man who came along like a disposable ATM with feelings. And the coping mechanisms are hilarious. First, it was, I'm focusing on myself right now. Then it was, all men are trash. Then it was, I have high standards. Then it was, men are intimidated by strong women. Then it was, the dating pool has pee in it. And now we're at the final stage. Where have all the good men gone? Ma'am, we're at home, grilling ribeyes, lifting weights, counting our money, and sleeping diagonally across a king-size bed that nobody is going to steal the covers from. That's where we are. Because here's what women never understood: men don't need relationships the same way women do. Women need relationships for emotional validation, social status, financial support, protection, and a built in audience for their daily drama. Men need relationships for two things: intimacy and peace. That's it. Give a man regular intimacy and genuine peace, and he will move mountains for you. Start giving him chaos, accusations, demands, disrespect, and social media games, and he will simply remove himself from the equation. It's not complicated. We don't hate women. We don't wish women harm. We just finally realized that our peace is worth more than any amount of beauty, any body count excuse. any potential that never turns into reality. And once a man tastes that peace, it's over. There's no offer good enough to drag him back into the circus. You could line up 10 Instagram models in his driveway tomorrow, and he'd still say, hard pass, I've got steaks in the fridge, and nobody yelling at me about dishes. I'm straight. That's the part that keeps women up at night. They spent years believing their looks and their body were the ultimate power, that no man could ever walk away from that. And then millions of us did exactly that, without screaming, without explaining, without posting a single subtweet. We just left. And we took our attention, our money, our protection, our emotional labor, our fixes around the house skills, and our willingness to carry the entire load with us. Now, women are out here discovering that independence feels a lot different when there's no man quietly handling everything behind the scenes. Oil changes are expensive. Moving furniture by yourself sucks. Bugs don't die themselves. And nobody is offering to Venmo you $300 just because when your nails are chipped and you posted a sad selfie. The safety net is gone. And for the first time in decades, women are having to stand on their own 2 feet without a parade of simps ready to catch them the second they stumble. Meanwhile, men are living better than they ever. We're buying houses cash because we're not splitting everything 50/50ths with someone who brings zero to the table except attitude. We're taking vacations we actually enjoy instead of going where her Instagram will look the best. We're eating what we want, watching what we want, coming and going as we please, and answering to nobody. And the craziest part, we're happy, genuinely happy, not the fake, I'm good, we used to say, while secretly miserable in relationships. Actually happy. The kind of happy you can't fake, the kind that shows up in your face, your bank account, your sleep, your gains at the gym. And women hate it. They hate that we're not suffering without them. They expected us to be crying in the group chat, begging to be taken back, posting depressed quotes on our stories. Instead, we're posting gym PRs, steak dinners, and sunrise hikes with the caption, life's good. They expected us to collapse. We upgraded. That's why you're starting to see the panic content everywhere. Men are becoming low effort. No, we became high effort for ourselves. Men won't commit anymore. We commit to things that actually benefit us now. Men only want one thing. Yeah, peace. And you weren't offering it. The mask is off, and women are big mad that the mirror is finally being held up to their behavior. Because deep down, they know the truth. They broke the contract first. They're the ones who said, I don't need a man, while still expecting men to keep acting like they were needed. They're the ones who turned dating into a pay per view event where the man pays for everything and still might not get a call back. They're the ones who made loyalty look stupid and boundaries look controlling. They're the ones who rewarded the worst behavior in men and punished the best. And when the good men finally said, we're not playing this game anymore, they called it misogyny instead of accountability. But accountability is finally here, whether they like it or not. Nature always balances the books eventually. You can't spend decades telling half the population they're disposable, toxic, unnecessary, and then act shocked when that half the population says message received and disappears. You can't treat men like walking wallets and then cry foul when the wallets start walking in the opposite direction. You can't demand respect while giving none and expect the supply to stay infinite. It doesn't work that way. And the best part is that men aren't even organizing this. There's no secret group chat, no leader, no manifesto. It's just millions of individual men all across the world coming to the same conclusion at roughly the same time. I'm happier without the chaos. That's it. No anger, no revenge plots, no desire to punish anyone, and just the quiet, calm realization that life is better when you stop letting people rent space in your head who never paid a dime to be there. Women keep asking, how do we get men to come back? The answer is simple, and it's the one answer they will never accept. Become worth coming back to. Bring peace, loyalty, respect, femininity, accountability, and genuine effort to the table. Stop the games, Stop the social media validation chasing. Stop the entitlement. Stop treating men like enemies by default. Become the kind of woman a man would be stupid to walk away from. And watch how fast men reappear. But they won't do that because that would require growth. That would require looking in the mirror. That would require admitting that decades of empowerment messaging actually disempowered them from building real, lasting relationships. And pride won't allow that. Ego won't allow that. The sunk cost fallacy of I've come this far being this way, I can't change now, won't allow that. So instead, they'll keep making TikToks crying about being single while rejecting every decent man who doesn't look like a Calvin Klein model or make seven figures. And men keep walking every single day. Another 1,000 men wake up, delete the apps, close the wallet, and choose peace. Every single day, another man realizes that the juice is no longer worth the squeeze. Every single day, another man looks at the dating market, sees the price tag attached to modern women, and says, nah, I'll keep my money and my sanity. Thank you very much. And there is nothing women can do to stop it at this point. The genie is out of the bottle. The pendulum has swung. The script has flipped, and all the shaming language in the world won't put it back. Call us avoidant, call us immature, call us scared of strong women, call us whatever makes you sleep better at night. We'll be over here sleeping like babies, bank accounts growing, stress levels zero, living our best lives. Because at the end of the day, men don't need women the way women need men. We can survive, thrive, build, protect, and enjoy life completely on our own. Women have never had to learn that skill because men were always there to handle the hard parts. Now that men are gone, women are finding out just how sharp the real world is without that shield. And men, we're rediscovering who we are when we're not constantly managing someone else's emotions, paying someone else's bills, and walking on eggshells so we don't get accused of something tomorrow. This is the new reality. Men walking away isn't a phase, it's not a trend. It's not going to reverse when the next celebrity couple gets married or the next rom com drops. It's permanent. The men who have seen the truth will never unsee it. And every day, more men are waking up to that same truth. So, to every man watching this right now, keep going, keep building, keep stacking your money, your muscle, your peace. Keep saying no to anything that doesn't serve you. Keep walking away from chaos disguised as beauty. Your future self is already thanking you. And to every woman who's finally starting to feel the cold, you did this. Own it. Fix it in yourself first. If you ever want a real man to stick around again, but don't hold your breath waiting for the men who already left to come running back. We're not lost. We're exactly where we want to be. We're free. Let me paint you a picture that's happening in every major city on the planet right now. It's Saturday night. The clubs are packed. The restaurants are full. The same places that used to be flooded with men in collared shirts, fresh haircuts, wallets ready to drop $300 just for the privilege of sitting across from a woman who was already planning how to let him down easy. Those places are still packed, but look closer. The ratio is cooked. 10 women for every one man, and the one man who did show up is either with his boys celebrating a promotion or he's a walking red flag who knows the desperation in the room gives him God mode. The decent men, the providers, the protectors, the ones women spent years swearing they wanted, they're nowhere to be found. They're at home or at a buddy's watching the fight or at the steakhouse laughing loud with other men who also chose peace. And the women in the club are taking selfies, posting stories with captions like, Ladies' Night, who needs men anyway? While secretly refreshing Hinge to see if anyone you swiped right in the last 30 seconds. That's not an exaggeration. That's Saturday night in 2025. The places women used to treat like their personal casting couch are now graveyards of broken expectations. And the men they used to ignore, the ones they called mid or dusty or not my type, those men are living better than the influencers they chase. They're driving paid off trucks, wearing clothes that fit because they finally hit the gym without someone telling them they're vain, eating food that actually tastes good. instead of whatever kale salad she was on this week. They're sleeping 8 hours a night because nobody is blowing up their phone at 3 a.m. with, "We need to talk." They're waking up refreshed, hitting PRs, stacking investments, planning trips with other men who also walked away, and laughing at how light life feels when you stop carrying dead weight. And the women who spent years telling those men you're not enough are now making 30-minute TikToks wondering why nobody is asking them out anymore. They'll sit there in perfect lighting, ring light glowing, lashes on, and say, "I'm a catch. I have my own place, my own car, a good job. I'm educated. I'm fit. Why are men scared of me?" And the comment section will be full of other women saying, "Same girl," while the men scroll past in silence because we already know the answer and we're tired of explaining it for free. The answer is simple. You priced yourself out of the market with attitude, entitlement, and chaos. You wanted a high value man, but refused to bring high value yourself. You wanted traditional benefits with modern rules. You wanted a man to lead, but called him controlling the second he tried. You wanted him to pay for everything, but called him broke when he asked for basic respect in return. You wanted loyalty, but kept a roster. You wanted commitment, but ghosted at the first sign of effort required on your part. You wanted a king, but treated every prince like a peasant until he finally stopped bowing. And now you're mad that the kingdom is empty. Men didn't get scared. We got smart. There's a difference. Like we started doing the math. A man in his 30s making good money realized that dating the average modern woman was more expensive than leasing a Lamborghini, came with worse depreciation, and had a higher chance of totaling his life in court. So he bought the Lambo instead, or the boat, or the rental properties, or he just stacked the cash and traveled the world first class while women back home argued in comment sections about who deserves what. Same man who used to drop a grand on a weekend hoping to impress a woman now drops that grand on a weekend with his boys in Miami and comes home with memories instead of trauma. Tell me which one sounds smarter. And here's the part that really stings for a lot of women listening. Men aren't even missing the intimacy as much as you think we are. Yeah, we like it. We're not monks, but we spent years being told that need used as a leash. Do what I want or you don't get any. Fix my attitude or sleep on the couch. Buy me this or I'm not in the mood. So when we walked away, we already knew we were trading intimacy for peace. And the majority of us looked at that trade and said, "Sign me up." Because bad intimacy with drama attached is worse than no intimacy at all. A man would rather take care of himself in 5 minutes than spend 5 hours arguing, apologizing, begging, and performing just to be granted conditional access to something that's supposed to be mutual. Once you've lived both realities, the choice is obvious. That's why the men only want one thing talking point fell apart so fast. If we only wanted one thing, we'd still be out there chasing it at all costs like we did in our 20s. But we're not. We're willing to go without rather than pay the chaos tax ever again. That should tell you how bad the chaos got. Women never understood how much emotional labor men were doing behind the scenes. We were managing your moods, your insecurities, your friend group drama, your family issues, your work stress, your body image days, your hormonal cycles, all while being told that showing any fatigue made us unsupportive. We were walking on eggshells, hoping today wasn't the day we accidentally said the wrong thing and got punished for a week. We were reading articles about how to be better allies while you were posting memes about how men are trash. We were killing ourselves to be what you said you wanted, and the second we came close, you moved the goalposts again. So when we finally put all that labor into ourselves instead, magic happened. Depression rates dropped, gym memberships exploded, bank accounts grew, friendships got stronger, hobbies came back to life, men started smiling in public again. You can feel it when you walk past a group of guys now. There's a lightness, a confidence, a "we know something you don't" vibe, and women feel it too. That's why they keep asking, why are men so happy lately? We're happy because we stopped letting unhappy people rent space in our lives for free. And don't get it twisted. This isn't about hating women. This is about loving ourselves more than we fear being alone. This is about refusing to negotiate with emotional terrorists. This is about understanding that a man's value doesn't come from how much punishment he can absorb from a woman who claims to love him. This is about realizing that peace isn't just nice to have, it's the foundation everything else is built on. Once you have peace, everything else becomes negotiable. Without it, nothing is worth it. Women are starting to figure that out the hard way. They're discovering that I don't need a man hits different when the toilet is broken and there's no one to call at midnight. When the car makes a weird noise and Google can only tell you so much. When you're moving apartments and your girlfriends flake but say, "You're strong, you got this, queen." When you're sick and there's no one to bring soup or rub your back or make sure you take your medicine. When the world feels big and scary and the only voice on the phone is your mom telling you to figure it out. Independence is cute on Instagram. In real life, it's cold, it's expensive, and it's lonely. Meanwhile, the men they rejected are living lives that look like vacation brochures, waking up whenever they want, eating steak and eggs for breakfast because nobody is on a diet, kicking and screaming in the kitchen, watching whatever they want on the 85-inch without someone saying, "Can we watch something else?" Traveling to places they choose, staying as long as they want, eating at the restaurants that actually serve meat, coming home to silence that feels like luxury instead of tension that feels like prison, having money left at the end of the month because it's not being spent on nails, hair, Ubers, brunches, and retail therapy for problems that started with them in the first place. That's the real flex. Not the watches, not the cars, not the follower count. The real flex is a man who can sit in an empty apartment with nothing but a grill, a barbell, and a bank account that keeps growing and still feel like the richest man alive because nobody is draining his soul on a daily basis. And women see it. They see the glow up, they see the peace, they see the bank accounts, they see the brotherhood. And it drives them insane because they were told their entire lives that men would never walk away, that men are desperate, that men can't live without them. And now they're watching millions of us do exactly that and do it better than we ever did with them dragging us down. So they cope. They cope hard. They make videos about how real men are rare now. They say we're emotionally unavailable. They say we're hurt. They say we're scared of intimacy. They say anything except the truth. That they overplayed their hand, got entitled, got comfortable, got lazy, and lost the plot completely. Anything but admit that the common denominator in all their failed situationships was them. But men aren't buying the cope anymore. We see it for what it is, deflection. We're not hurt. We're healed. We're not scared. We're selective. We're not unavailable. We're just not available to chaos anymore. And no amount of shaming, no amount of step up speeches, no amount of masculinity as in crisis articles is going to guilt us back into the plantation. Because we finally get it. All roads lead to MWA. Men walking away. Every path, every experience, every heartbreak, every time we ignored our gut, every time we went against our own best interest to keep a woman happy, all of it was leading us right here to freedom, to peace, to self respect, to lives that actually feel like ours. We're not coming back. Not unless the entire game changes. And even then, most of us are good. We've seen what's behind the curtain. We know how the trick is done. And we're not paying for another show. We're building our own stages now, our own empires, our own peace. And we're doing it without an audience that boos every time we set a boundary. Let me tell you about a conversation I had with a buddy of mine last week. Good dude, mid-30s, six-figure job, owns his house outright, looks like he lives in the gym, used to be the king of taking women out, first-class dates, weekend getaways, the whole playbook. Last time he was in a relationship, the girl told him on month 6, after he had paid for her to get her teeth whitened, her hair done, and a whole new wardrobe, that he needed to step up more because her girlfriend's man just surprised her with a Birkin. He laughed in her face, blocked her on everything, sold the PlayStation she never let him play anyway, and hasn't been on a real date since. 2 years ago, I asked him the other day, "You ever miss it?" He looked at me like I asked if he missed getting punched in the face. He said, "Bro, I make more money in a week now than I used to blow in a month trying to keep some girl happy who was still texting her ex. I sleep better, I eat better, my dog loves me unconditionally, and I haven't had a single argument about tone in 2 years. Miss it? I'd rather miss a kidney." That's not one guy. That's every guy who finally woke up. That's the new normal. The bar for what a man will tolerate has been raised so high that the average modern woman can't even see it anymore, let alone clear it. And the ones who keep trying to shame men back into the old ways are finding out real quick that shame only works on men who still care what women think. And those men are an endangered species. Women spent years training men to believe that being chosen by a woman was the ultimate prize. That if you could just get the hottest girl, keep her the longest, make her the happiest, you had won at life. They sold us the Disney lie, the Hollywood lie, the Instagram lie that a man's worth is tied to the quality of woman on his arm and the smile on her face. And for a long time, we bought it. We went into debt for rings. We worked soul crushing overtime to afford lifestyles we didn't even enjoy. We swallowed disrespect, betrayal, laziness, entitlement, all of it because we had been brainwashed to believe that a real man keeps his woman happy no matter what. And the second we stopped drinking that Kool-Aid, the entire matrix started to collapse. Because here's the secret they never wanted to keep buried forever. Women don't actually want the responsibility that comes with being the prize. They want the worship without the work. They want the pedestal without earning it daily. They want the crown without ever having to bow. And when men finally said, okay, if we're not getting respect, loyalty, peace, or even basic gratitude, then the pedestal is closed for renovations indefinitely. Panic set in. That's why you're seeing the soft life content blow up right now. Women posting videos from 5-star resorts they can't actually afford, talking about dating with intention while swiping on millionaires only, bragging about never settling, all while quietly extending their lease for the third year in a row and wondering why their credit card is maxed out. The fantasy is still being sold, but fewer and fewer men are buying the tickets. And the cope keeps evolving. First, it was, we're queens, we deserve the world. Cool. Then, when the world didn't show up, it became, men are broke. Then, when men started posting their bank accounts, it became, money doesn't matter, I want connection. Then, when men offered genuine connection, it became, he's love bombing. Then, when men slowed down, it became, he's avoidant. Then, when men walked away completely, it became, all men are gay now. Whatever keeps the ego intact, whatever keeps from having to look in the mirror and admit that the common denominator in every failed talking stage, every ghosted situationship, every he was perfect but story is them. But men aren't playing that game anymore. We're not debating. We're not arguing in comment sections. We're not making reaction videos trying to prove we're the good ones. We're just living quietly, happily, abundantly. And the silence is the loudest message of all. Because nothing triggers a woman who spent years believing she was irreplaceable, like watching the man she thought she had on a leash thriving without her. Nothing stings more than seeing the guy she curved, friend zoned, or straight up disrespected posting vacation pictures from places she can only dream of, with a smile she never saw when they were together. Nothing makes the reality hit harder than realizing that the same man she called controlling for wanting basic loyalty is now controlling his entire life, his finances, his time, his peace, and doing it better than she ever could. And the craziest part, most men aren't even posting it to flex. They're just living the pictures, the stories, the gains, the money, the freedom. It's not for clout. It's the natural byproduct of removing the biggest anchor most men ever dragged behind them, a woman who didn't value them. And that's why the "where are all the good men" content always falls flat now. Because we're not hiding. We're just not where you left us. We're not in your DMs begging. We're not at the bar buying rounds hoping you'll notice. We're not at your job waiting with flowers after you had a bad day. We're not offering to fix your car for free anymore. We're not listening to your problems at 2 a.m. while you ignore ours. We moved, we upgraded, we leveled up. And the new address is Peaceful Lane, population, every man who finally chose himself. And women are starting to realize that the strong, independent script only works when there's still a safety net of desperate men underneath. Take that net away, and suddenly, "I don't need a man" becomes, "How do I get a man to need me again?" Real quick, the mask slips, the truth comes out, the panic sets in. I saw a video the other day, woman in her 30s crying on camera saying, "I did everything right. I got the degrees, the career, the body, the apartment. Why am I still alone?" And the top comment from another woman was, "Because you forgot to be pleasant." That comment had 100,000 likes. Let that sink in. Even other women are tired of the act because pleasant is the bare minimum. Kind, respectful, grateful, feminine, peaceful. Those used to be default settings. Now they're rare DLC that cost extra. And most men have decided we're not paying for the expansion pack anymore. We're good with the base game. Ourselves, our purpose, our brotherhood, our peace. And here's where it gets beautiful. Men are rediscovering brotherhood in a way we haven't in generations. Gyms are full of guys spotting each other, hyping each other, holding each other accountable. Discord servers, group chats, weekend trips, cigar nights, all of it exploding. Men are linking up, building networks, starting businesses together, investing together, traveling together, and doing it all without a single woman in the frame. And it's powerful because for the first time in a long time, men have communities again, real ones, where you're valued for your character, your work ethic, your loyalty, not for how much you're willing to let someone walk all over you. Women never understood how much loneliness men were carrying while in relationships with them, sitting in the same room, scrolling phones, not talking, walking on eggshells, feeling invisible unless they were fixing something or paying for something. That was loneliness with a witness. Now men are alone, truly alone, and discovering it feels like freedom. No performance, no audience, no report card, just you and your thoughts in the quiet that finally lets you hear yourself think. And when men gather now, the conversation is different. It's not how do we get women to like us, it's how do we build more wealth? How do we get stronger? How do we protect what we have? What country should we visit next? What business should we start together? The energy is creation, not desperation. Building, not begging. Peace, not performance. And that's the part women can't replicate. They can make girls' trips and brunches and vision board parties, but they can't replicate the bond men have when the second we decide we're on the same team. And right now, millions of men are on the same team. Team peace, team self respect, team no more chaos. And that team is undefeated. So when women ask, how do we fix this? The answer is staring them in the face. And it's the one answer their pride will never let them speak out loud. Become a woman a man would be excited to come home to, not one he has to recover from. Bring value that goes deeper than looks and intimacy. Bring peace, bring loyalty, bring respect, bring gratitude, bring femininity, bring effort. Bring a soft place to land instead of a constant battlefield. Bring the kind of energy that makes a man want to build with you, not escape from you. But most won't. Most will keep coping. Most will keep saying the market is broken instead of admitting they broke the market. Most will keep demanding princes while acting like entitled toddlers. And that's fine, because every woman who refuses to change is simply making room for the few who will. And those few, they're getting treated like royalty right now. Because the men who stayed in the game, the ones who still believe in partnership, they're only dealing with the women who actually bring the full package. And those women are winning quietly, happily, abundantly. The rest, they're going to learn the hard way that attention is not love, followers are not provision, and independence feels real cute until the rent is due and there's nobody to call but your homegirls who are just as broke and just as single. Men aren't broken. The system that tried to break us is, and we're not fixing it, we're replacing it with something better, something that serves us, something that honors our nature instead of punishing it. All roads lead to MWA. We're not lost. We're home. Let me take you back to 2015 for a second so you can see how fast the collapse actually happened. Back then, a man could still meet a girl at a coffee shop, get her number, take her to dinner, pay the bill without it being filmed for TikTok, and have a 70% chance of at least seeing her again if he didn't act like a complete clown. Fast forward 10 years, and that same interaction is now treated like a hate crime. He speaks to her, creep. He offers to pay. He's trying to control her. He asks for her number instead of her Instagram. He's broke and hiding something. He dares to compliment her appearance, harassment. The rules changed every 6 months, and every new rule came with a new punishment for any man who didn't get the memo in real time. So men did the only rational thing left. They stopped playing a game that was specifically designed to make them lose. And once the decent men stopped playing, the only ones left on the field were the exact men women spent a decade screaming they didn't want. The manipulators, the players, the narcissists, the ones who never cared about rules in the first place. And now those are the only men getting consistent results. Why? Because chaos recognizes chaos. Dysfunction dates dysfunction. The women who spent years saying, I want a good man who communicates and has emotions, are now in situationships with guys who have 3 other girls on rotation and answer texts once every 3 days. And they stay. They fight for it. They cry about it on podcasts because deep down they know that the good men they rejected aren't coming back. And the bar for what they're willing to tolerate has been lowered so far that even a lukewarm text at 1 a.m. feels like love. That's the real tragedy nobody wants to talk about. The women who actually deserved good men lost them too, because the ones who were kind, loyal, feminine, peaceful, the ones who would have been amazing wives and mothers, they're paying the price for the behavior of the majority. They're invisible now, buried under the noise of the loud, entitled, damaged ones who turned the dating market into a war zone. And the good women are out there asking the same question. Where did all the good men go? And the answer hurts just as much for them. We went underground. We stopped advertising our value because the second we did, the vultures descended. We learned that wearing a suit to a first date just painted a target on our back. We learned that opening doors and paying bills was interpreted as weakness that could be exploited. We learned that the second a woman knows you're a good man, half of them start planning how to bleed you dry, while the other half gets scared off by their own friends telling them, he's too nice, there's a catch. So the good men put on camouflage. We dress down. We play dumb. We keep our money quiet. We keep our emotions quieter. We let women think we're just like the bad boys until we decide she's actually safe. And by then, she's usually already disqualified herself with red flags the size of parade banners. The juice is almost never worth the squeeze anymore. And the women who spent years celebrating no more toxic masculinity are now realizing that toxic masculinity was the only masculinity still willing to deal with toxic femininity. The good men left the building, and the ones who stayed are the ones who never cared about your boundaries in the first place. Congratulations, you won the war and lost the peace. That's why you see so many women in their late 20s and 30s suddenly doing 180S on social media. One day it's, I love being single, men are trash. The next day it's, I'm ready to be a traditional wife. Where are the providers? One day it's thirst traps and my body, my choice. The next day, it's, I want to cook for my man and submit. They think men didn't notice the flip. They think we forgot the years of being called simps for wanting exactly what they're now advertising. They think we're going to come running the second they put on an apron and post a Bible verse. We saw the switch up. We remember the disrespect. We're not dumb. And we're definitely not thirsty. Because here's the part that keeps them up at night. Men have options now that don't involve chaos. We can travel to countries where women still smile when a man walks into a room. We can build wealth and enjoy it completely by ourselves. We can adopt dogs that love us more than any woman ever did. We can focus on legacy, purpose, brotherhood, mastery, all the things that actually fulfill a man's soul. And if we ever do decide to let a woman in, she has to be so exceptional, so peaceful, so loyal, so feminine that she feels like a unicorn in a world full of donkeys. And those women exist. They're just quiet. They're not making noise on social media because they're too busy being wives to the men who already found them. The loud ones, the ones still making 30 slide carousels about what men need to do, they're the donkeys. And the market has spoken. Donkeys don't get ridden anymore. They get left to graze in the attention pasture until it runs out of grass. And it's running out fast. OnlyFans is down 40% from its peak. Instagram engagement is tanking. Dating apps are bleeding male users so badly that they're offering women free premium features just to keep the lights on. Clubs are closing on weeknights because men stopped showing up to spend money on bottle service for women who won't even look up from their phones. Restaurants are hurting because men stopped taking women on expensive first dates that end in, I see you as a friend. The entire attention economy that women built their identity around is collapsing in real time, and they're standing in the rubble screaming, "This is fine," while everything burns. Meanwhile, men are eating steak in silence, counting money in peace, lifting heavier than ever, sleeping better than ever, and laughing louder than ever. We're not gloating, we're just living. But the contrast is so stark. One side is panicking, coping, blaming, demanding. The other side is calm, building, thriving, unbothered, and the gap keeps growing every single day. I want you to really let this next part sink in. Men are not angry anymore. That's the scariest part for a lot of women listening. They expected rage, they expected protest, they expected us to burn the system down and beg to be let back in. Instead, we just left quietly, calmly, permanently. We're not yelling in the streets. We're not making revenge content. We're not starting movements with hashtags. We're just gone. And that silence is deafening because an angry man can be negotiated with. An angry man still cares. An angry man can be shamed, guilted, manipulated. A peaceful man who has removed you from his life completely. There's no leverage there. There's no button to push. There's no ego to bruise. There's nothing to work with. He's already won by walking away. And he knows it. That's the real power shift nobody saw coming. Women spent decades believing male anger was the biggest threat. Turns out male indifference is the nuclear option. When men were angry, women still had control. When men stopped caring altogether, the game ended. And it's never restarting, not the way it was. The men who walked away have zero intention of returning to a burning house just because the arsonist finally ran out of matches and wants help putting out the flames. We're building new houses with better foundations, higher walls, peaceful gardens, and very strict guest lists. So when women ask, how do we bring men back? The real answer is you don't. You can't. The men who left aren't coming back because the version of the world they left no longer exists and they don't want it to. They've seen paradise on the other side of chaos, and there's no offer on this side that competes. You could put the hottest woman in the world in front of a man who's tasted true peace, and he'll still say, appreciate the view, but I've got a ribeye on the grill and nobody waiting to argue about the thermostat. I'm straight. That's the new standard. Peace over everything, self-respect over everything, purpose over performance. And any woman who wants in has to meet that standard or higher. No negotiation, no settling, no potential. Peace or nothing. And the beautiful part? Men are holding each other to that standard now, too. When one of us starts slipping, starts simping, starts entertaining chaos again, the Brotherhood calls it out immediately. Bro, you're better than this. Remember what peace feels like. She's not special, she's just learned the script. We protect the circle now. We don't let weak links drag the team back into the mud. Iron sharpens iron, and right now the iron is sharper than it's been in generations. Women never had that. They had competition disguised as friendship. They had secret group chats tearing each other down while smiling in faces. They had support that disappeared. The second one of them actually landed a good man. Men have real brotherhood now, and it's bulletproof. That's why the shaming doesn't work anymore. Call us weak, we're stronger than ever. Call us broke. Our bank accounts disagree. Call us lonely. We've never felt more connected. Call us immature. We're the most focused, disciplined, purpose driven generation of men in decades. Every insult bounces off because we know the truth. We're not running from women, we're running toward ourselves. And we're never stopping. And we're building wealth that women can't touch in divorce court. We're building bodies that don't need validation. We're building legacies that don't depend on who we're sleeping next to. We're building peace that no amount of beauty can compete with. All roads lead to MWA. We're not hiding, we're thriving. And so here we are. The end of the line for an entire era, the funeral of the old dating market, the death of the simp, the quiet, bloodless revolution that nobody saw coming because it didn't need fireworks. It only needed millions of men to make one simple decision at the same time. I choose me. And once that decision was made, once the dam finally broke, there was no rebuilding it. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. You can't unring the bell. YouTube content. You can't make a man who has tasted peace ever crawl back into the cage just because the zookeeper ran out of treats and started crying. That man is gone. A new man woke up in his place. A man who understands that his attention is the most valuable currency on earth. A man who knows his time is worth more than gold. A man who finally gets that his peace is not negotiable, not for beauty, not for intimacy, not for the promise of children, not for societal pressure, not for anything. That man is awake now, and he is never going back to sleep. Women are starting to understand in the quiet moments when the likes stop coming in and the apartment feels too big and the phone stays silent, that they didn't just lose a few dusties. They lost the plot completely. They lost the best men who ever lived, the ones who would have built empires for them, the ones who would have protected them from the world, the ones who would have carried them through sickness, loss, hardship, and still looked at them like the sun rose and set in their eyes. Those men didn't die. They didn't disappear. They just stopped participating in a system that punished them for being exactly what women claimed they wanted. And now, those men are using that same energy, that same provider instinct, that same protector spirit, that same builder mindset on themselves. They're providing for their future, protecting their peace, building their bodies, their wealth, their brotherhood, their legacy. And they're doing it with a smile because for the first time in their lives, nobody is standing over them with a clipboard grading their performance and telling them they still aren't enough. That's the part that hurts the most to watch. Men aren't suffering. We're flourishing. We're not crying in our beer. We're drinking whiskey older than most of these girls' attitudes and laughing about how light life feels when you stop carrying people who never carried you. We're not broken. We're unbreakable. We're not lost. We're exactly where we were always meant to be, in control of our own lives. And women are finally starting to feel the full weight of what they threw away. Not just a man, not just a boyfriend or a husband or a baby daddy. They threw away the one group of people on the planet who ever truly had their back no matter what. The ones who stood between them and the harshness of reality for centuries. The ones who built the houses they live in, the roads they drive on, the power grid that keeps their ring lights on, the armies that keep invaders out, the everything. And they told those men for decades that they were the problem. So we left, and the world didn't collapse for us. It got better. The world collapsed for the people who thought it revolved around them. And now they're out here discovering that bills don't care about your follower count, that loneliness doesn't care how many fire emojis you got on your last post, that the government doesn't send a check just because you posted soft life on your vision board. That being a boss babe feels real cute until the car breaks down and there's nobody to call who gives a damn. That independence is lonely as hell when the only voice in the house at night is your own echo begging for the old days back. And the cries are getting louder every single day. The podcasts, the TikToks, the Twitter spaces, the YouTube panels, all of them asking the same question in 100 different accents. Where are the men? We're right here. We never left the planet. We just left your chaos. We're in the gym at 6 a.m. while you're hungover from girls' night. We're closing deals while you're arguing in group chats. We're counting dividends while you're counting likes. We're sleeping 8 hours while you're doom scrolling, wondering why he didn't text back. We're living, you're surviving. There's a difference. And no amount of shaming is bringing us back. No amount of real men would speeches. No amount of masculinity is in crisis articles written by people who never liked men in the first place. No amount of fake traditional wife cosplay on Instagram. No amount of crying on camera about being aged out at 29. None of it works because we've seen the man in the mirror now. We've seen what we're capable of when we're not bleeding energy into a black hole of entitlement. And that man doesn't negotiate with chaos. That man doesn't flinch at name calling. That man doesn't trade his peace for anything less than a woman who is peace personified. So keep the filters, keep the attitudes, keep the lists that are longer than a CVS receipt. Keep the I bring to the table speeches while bringing nothing but trauma and a Venmo QR code. Keep telling yourselves the lie that men will come back when you're ready. We're not coming back, not ever, not for that version of you. The price of admission to our lives went up, and the currency is no longer looks or intimacy. The currency is peace, loyalty, respect, gratitude, femininity, effort, and joy. Bring all of that in abundance every single day, or keep walking. Those are the only two options on the table now. And the few women who actually get it, the ones who looked in the mirror, did the work, healed their wounds, dropped the ego, learned how to be soft, learned how to be kind, learned how to be grateful, learned how to bring joy instead of chaos. Those women are living like queens right now. They're getting courted, cherished, protected, provided for, spoiled, loved in ways their grandmothers would cry happy tears over. Because the men who stayed in the game, the ones who still believe in building a family, they didn't disappear. They just became the most selective buyers in history, and they only buy the absolute best now. The rest get left on the shelf permanently. That's the new world order. A world where men choose themselves first, last, and always. A world where peace is the highest value. A world where brotherhood is stronger than any relationship drama. A world where men thrive not because women allow it, but because we finally stopped asking for permission. And if that world scares you, good, it should, because it's a world you don't control anymore. It's a world where your looks are noted but no longer worshipped, where your body count is a liability, not a flex, where your attitude determines your altitude, and most of you are grounded, where your past decisions echo louder than your future promises, where men trust actions, not words, and your actions have already spoken loud and clear. This isn't a phase. This isn't anger. This isn't a trend that fades when the next celebrity wedding happens. This is the new default setting for men. This is the baseline. This is the floor, not the ceiling. And it's only going up from here. So, to every man listening right now, keep walking, keep building, keep stacking, keep lifting, keep laughing, keep protecting your peace like it's the last resource on earth, because it is. Keep saying no to anything that doesn't feel like freedom. Keep investing in yourself harder than you ever invested in any woman. Keep surrounding yourself with other men who get it. Keep living in a way that makes the old version of you jealous. Keep proving every single day that a man at peace is the most dangerous creature on the planet, because nothing can control him, nothing can manipulate him, nothing can stop him. And to every woman still wondering how to get a man back, stop. Just stop. The man you want back doesn't exist anymore. He died the day he chose peace over your chaos. In his place is a new man, a better man, a man who will never again accept crumbs and call it a meal. A man who knows his worth isn't determined by who chooses him, but by what he chooses. And right now, he's choosing himself every single time. The game is over. The score is final. The men won, not by fighting, not by screaming, not by force. We won by leaving, and we're never coming back to a burning house just to keep you warm. All our roads lead to MWA, men walking away. And we're not walking slow. We're sprinting toward lives that actually feel like ours. We're not looking back. We're not second guessing. We're not explaining. We're not apologizing. We're not begging. We're not performing. We're free. So drop a comment below. What did you think about everything we just broke down? Do you agree? Do you see it playing out in your own life, your friends' lives, your city, your country? Are you walking away too? Or are you one of the few women who actually gets it and is winning right now? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away, and cheers.
Whether you're on top of the world or down in the dumps, whether your trading is going great or is a buzz, one thing's by your side, always through it all, lighting up smiles around the world for all. Nothing says you care like crypto. Nothing can compare. Nothing says you care like crypto. Oh, nothing can compare to crypto.